stick with the melodies.
Hey,
Hello,
everybody.
how are y'all? Um, one of the
So,
things that one of the things I was going to show will be sort of a stereo thing. So you might want to have headphones so you can hear left and right better. But it's not important if you don't have headphones handy. And Kevin had suggested doing this as well. I guess he didn't make a real strong suggestion, but like a YouTube tutorial thing. But I was kind of hoping to do it like this because y'all had shown some interest, and you can ask questions when I don't tell you what you need to know. Otherwise, I would just say whatever comes to mind, and then you wouldn't be able to reproduce any of this. So, speak up. Tell me
Yeah,
when
we're
I'm.
we're recording this. We're recording this so we can put the recording up. So
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the plan. Is record this and post it so somebody else can watch it.
yeah,
Okay. Does everybody see my screen that's sharing?
I just see your
I do.
name.
Okay.
I
You need
see
to.
I see what you're sharing, the Audacity screen. I just don't see your picture.
Oh, that's
That's
because
important.
I'm.
That's okay. Yeah. I see the
Yeah.
screen though. Yeah.
Okay, that's the important part. I
Yeah.
only have one camera, and I was going to use
Okay.
the camera for the demo. I can't use it for both.
Right.
That's why I'm not on. My face is not on the screen.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay, so I've been doing this with two programs. The first one is called Audacity, and it's this front window. This is just audio stuff, and
Uh-huh.
it's open source and it's free, and I'm pretty sure it's available on every platform.
yeah.
And the other program I've been using is this thing in the background. This is called KDN Live, KDEN Live. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. And this is the video part. So, so I thought I would just sort of walk through a short video production and then show you which buttons I click and let you ask questions as we go. I record the video through, so now you should see my picture because I've got,
Yeah.
my camera
Right.
app is on the screen. I record it with, this is just the Windows 10 built-in camera app. And it's just talking to a cheap webcam. If you've got a laptop, it'll just use, that camera. And for audio, I'm currently talking through the webcam mic, but for the audio recordings, I record them separately through this microphone, which is just a USB mic, and then I put it together later. So I record all the audio and video, stack it up in Audacity, and then pull it over into the video editor and sort of stack it together there with the pictures. So let's
Can I,
see. Go
Paul?
ahead. Yes.
When you do one, do you do it in one shot? So you play and record with Audacity and the video at the same time,
Yeah, otherwise you'll never get it synced very
right?
well because your hand will be just slightly out of pace. But that's a great question. I will always do something like lay down, I'll play all the way through it one way or the other. So I have a beat of sorts to play on top of for the other recordings. So, like with the teach your children thing, I just did the strum and sing all the way through. And then I went back and layered on top the other parts. And you do that while listening to the first recording.
Right.
So, so in Audacity, there's not a whole lot to set up, but let's see. Like I've got this pull down here to choose which microphone I'm using. So this is the one that I just showed you that's sitting on my desktop. And the speaker, I currently have it set to just do whatever Windows says to send the sound to. Like I've got some desktop speakers and I've got a couple of headphones. I'm currently selecting, well, currently listening through my headphones. And you pretty much always want to use headphones because when you're playing like the second track on top, you have to listen to the first one in order to be synchronized. And if that's coming out of your desktop speakers, it's going to go back into the mic a second time, which isn't the end of the world, but it's going to sound funny. You will have less control when you put it all together. So, I always wear headphones. All right, so I thought I would just record like two things and stack them together. And oh, the other thing to know is if you've got a separate mic, or I guess even if you have a built-in mic, um, there's a mic volume slider right here. You kind of want to set it to where it doesn't get too loud. So when you click right here, it'll start monitoring your microphone. And if you get too loud, you'll see that it starts to get red, and this little blue bar that's measuring the loudest thing. If it gets too close to 0, that's going to be a problem. And if you turn the slider too far up, then it'll go past 0, and that'll be bad. So kind of want the microphone volume to be, you know, play through some chords and make sure they don't get, say, above -12. That's kind of my target. I think I had about 88. All right. So I'm gonna play some chords, then I'll go back and play some notes on top of the chords in a separate track. Oh, so I always start this. Now I'm recording, and then I go over here and I click this. So now I'm recording video. And I've been doing this lately. I don't know if it's really important, but I'll do a little clap like that and see how it makes a spike in the audio. It gives you a landmark you can line up so that you can get the audio you're recording in Audacity to line up with the video you're recording over in this other app. And of course, I'm talking on the recording, but we'll edit all that out later. Okay, so that's that. And like a lot of things, a lot of apps these days, if you hold down the control button and roll the mouse key, that'll zoom out so you can see like this whole recording all on one segment of the screen. And here's our clap over here, and here's me chatting. The music looks like it starts about right here. So I'm gonna just click and drag to select that section. And you can see it's not like full scale or anything. It's still pretty quiet. Let's just play it and hear what it sounds like. Can you hear it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's three things I do to everything I record. And they're in this effect menu. And the first one I do is noise reduction, because the microphone's got like some hiss to it, and this will cut that out to some degree. But it won't work until you do a thing called get a noise profile. And to do that, I'm going to add a new track. And I'm just going to record a few seconds of being quiet.
So now I'm recording video.
Okay, so that's good enough. You just select some of this quiet space and go back to the effect menu and click Get Noise Profile. So now it knows what is going to be in all of the sound that it needs to. That's how it decides what to delete and what to keep. So let's see. I'm just going to select the musical part of this track. But you can, if you click over here, you'll select the whole track. Let's just do it that way. So select here to select the whole track, and under Effect, do noise reduction. And these are not the default settings, but they're the settings that I've settled on. The ones that it were set to when I first installed this app, I don't remember what they were, but they were optimized for voice, and they cut out some of the musical sound of the instrument. So I fooled around with it until I got what I thought sounded still pretty good. And I'll go back and make notes on settings like that. They'll obviously be in the video, but maybe that'll be of some help. Okay, so that should have reduced the noise, which isn't really that big of a deal to begin with. And the other thing I do, the second thing I do that's maybe even more important, I'm not sure, is I do this thing called compressor. And compression is a way of cutting down the loudest sounds so that the difference between the loudest and the quietest sounds is not so much. And everything's basically the same volume with the ukulele, so that's not so important. But the last step it does is sets the gain so that it uses, so that the final track is loud enough to be heard. So mostly this is going to make it, now you can see that it's a bigger sound. And here I intentionally didn't select the clap because that was a lot louder than the musical part of it. If I had selected the entire track when I did that, then the volume of the ukulele would be smaller than I probably want it to be because the clap would be the loudest thing. So now let's listen to it again. So now it's more like a normal listening level. And the last thing I've been doing is I add some reverb. And I don't know if I really like it or if I'm going to keep doing it. But that's what I've been doing, so I'm going to tell you about it. And it's got 4,000 knobs, and I've fooled around with them a bunch. But there's a nice button right here with some presets, factory presets. And you can make it sound like a bathroom or a church or whatever you like. The last recording I made, I was in a small, bright room. So I'll use that again. And it'll remember that setting, so if you have a favorite, you select it once and then it just sticks, even between sessions. So that'll make it a little echoey sounding. It's kind of a subtle effect unless you really listen to it side by side. Let's see. So I'm going to zoom in. I see one thing that happens all the time is like I hit the strings or something, and you see a little blip of sound right there. It's not related to the song. You can select that stuff, and there's a button right here that'll just mute that selected segment. So you just sort of pick the parts you don't like and delete them or suppress them. So that's kind of a neat thing to be able to do.
I need that in real life.
What's that? Oh, yes, I know.
I need that in real life.
Yeah. I forgot to stop the video recording, so we've got this gigantic long video. That might be a problem later. We'll see. But I'm going to
How
keep
big are
it.
these documents when you finally save them?
Let's find out. I don't know. My disk isn't full yet, so. All right, so here are. These are the videos that came right out of the camera. And the last one always has this like machine generated name, and it is 6 minutes, nearly 7 minutes of video was 204 megabytes. So by modern standards, that's not so much. I'll get a bunch of these typically because I'll make a recording, I don't like it. I'll make another recording, I don't like it. Eventually I'll get one that I think I'm going to keep, and I give it a name that I think I can remember. Okay.
And I noticed you're saving them in MP4.
That's just what the Windows camera app generates.
Oh, okay. I always think of that as an Apple file format?
It's a standard video format that all the platforms support. It's
Oh,
what
that's
I
good.
upload to YouTube. YouTube likes it. Okay, let's see. So far, so good, I think. So, let's say those chords were like strumming through some song we're going to play. And then the next thing I typically do is add a new track. And I'm recording in mono. If you've got a stereo mic, you can certainly do that. So I'm going to add a new mono track. And I'll come down to, let's say right here. You don't have to, okay, so let me make my message a little clearer. We've got all this junk at the front of the video, audio, that I'm not going to use. I don't want to listen to that when I'm recording. I just want to skip to the musical part. So you can just put your cursor like right there and then press the red dot and it'll start recording from there and it'll fill in blank to the left. This is the whole trick, I think, to having multiple tracks of audio is being able to listen to yourself while you play. While you play a new part, you can listen to the last part. So I'll start the video again. I'm not going to do the clap. I don't really know how to do the clap thing for the second video. And I'll explain that in a second. All right. And then I'll start recording some audio. Whoops. See how it's recording here at the end of the top track? That's not what I wanted. I had somehow accidentally selected the top track. And it happens all the time. Fortunately, it just goes on the end here. And you can undo it. So, no big deal. So, let me try that again. Click right here. Click record.
Edit all that.
Okay. Remember to stop the video this time. And then I go through the same steps. I'll select the whole track. I'll do noise reduction. I'll do, where's the next? Compressor. And I'll do reverb. And now I can click here and press play, and it'll just pick up from there and it'll play both of them together. Right, so sounds pretty good. What else can you do? Let's see. Let's say I messed up this section here. I could blank that out. In fact, let's do that. Delete that. And I want to re-record this section. The way I've been doing that is I'll add a new track. And I'll just come down right here and start recording. And I'll show you how to do this in a minute. I've got a thing called a macro that just does those 3 steps for me. So I'm going to just click the macro button this time. So now, if I play from here, oh, let's just skip to right here. I think that's actually worse than the original, but you get the idea. You can patch it up if you need to. So I'm going to undo a few steps and get back to what we had. And I'm going to save this project as demo project. And I'm going to export as MP3. Oh, I forgot to show you something. Okay, so it was giving me a warning that it's going to produce a mono MP3, which makes sense because it's got two mono tracks. One thing I'll sometimes do, I often do this, is I'll pick one track and I'll put it like 30% to the left, and I'll take another track and put it 30% to the right, or 40. So I can hit 30, I'll hit 30. And that gives it a stereo effect because you've got a player on your left and you've got a player on your right. So I think that sounds better, especially if there's like a third part that's like singing, goes right down the middle, and a bass on the left, rhythm on the right, or something like that. And just for the sake of making it more obvious, I'll put them all the way on the left and right. So, all right, let's put it back sort of more modern. It sounds a little weird if it's totally on the left and the right, especially to the headphones. All right, save the project. Now, export as MP3. And you can fill in some details there that I never do. And, okay, let's put the video together. We'll go over to the video editor. Well, the way I do it is I go to my file browser, and I just launched this editor and haven't touched it since it opened. So that's what happens when you first launch it. And I'll drag this video in, and it'll give you this pop-up saying you want to configure this project to match the resolution of the video, is basically what it's asking, or something to that effect. So I just say sure, that's what I want. And, oh, I never renamed that last one. Let's rename it. Drag that in. And then I've also got the sound recording here. Somewhere. There it is. So drag that in. And now what? Let's see. So I'll add, so you got these timelines. This is very similar to what we saw in the audio program. So I'll drag this down here. And it's got, this is recording through the camera, and the camera has a built-in mic, so it's got audio of its own. And if you play this, let's just play some of it. This is just the audio from the first recording.
Like a lot of things.
But it's through a different mic, so it's going to sound a little bit different. And we haven't done any of the adjustments on this audio. So eventually I'll mute this, but I'll leave it on for now. And I have another video track, which is the melody part. And I can add that right here. And I've got to get these synchronized. And synchronizing is the trick. Oh, and I've got this audio track I've got to add. So if I come down here and right click, I can say add track. And it's going to be an audio track goes under the A2 audio track. And I'll drag this down there. Okay. So this thing, one thing that works pretty well here, but not always works, but most of the time works, if I can set this as my audio reference, then I can click on this video and say align audio. This is a right click. Sorry, let me go through that again. So select this bottom audio, right click, and say set audio reference. And then come here and right click and say align audio. And it'll do its best to remove it. Let's force it to do something. And, oh, yeah, it did it. Okay, so usually when it does that, it works. but you have to watch it some and make sure. And you got a time cursor here.
I'll do a little.
Yeah, see, it doesn't look like it really
See how it
works.
makes a spike in the audio.
So I'll have to experiment. I'll see if I can find that clap. The clap thing, I haven't been totally successful with that. Because, see here, I don't see it. I don't think it shows me the audio as well as it should.
Why is the demo an MP3 and the other, like the melodies, MP4?
The melody is a video. MP4 is a video format.
Oh,
The
okay.
MP3 is an audio only format.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Let's just watch I'm going to mute this and mute this and just watch this for a second. Okay, so it looks like you can drag this cursor around. It looks like I'm playing. You know, it looks like I'm talking. All right, so that's about the beginning of the music, where this cursor is. It looks like where the music starts here is about right there. And I'll zoom in. I'm doing a control. I hold the control button down and do the mouse wheel to zoom in. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be easy to get these audio aligned. If you'll stop the video when you stop the audio, I think that works better. In this case, I've got 5 miles of video that we don't need. And I think that's interfering with the automatic alignment. So let's just pretend that's aligned. Now the next thing I do is I've always got this stuff on the left that I don't want. So I'll set the cursor like right at the beginning of the music. Let's say that's it. And if you hover over this left edge, you can grab it and just drag. And when you get to this cursor, it'll just kind of click. You can do the same thing for this. So they start together. And in this case, the melody and the chords all happen at the same time. So really need to get the I'm just scrolling until I see my fingers start to play, and I'm going to pick that as a starting point. That's close enough. This is going to be a very sloppy video, but you'll get the idea. And I'm going to not show the melody video at first. That's why I'm dragging the edges in. It's not squashing it in time, it's chopping off the stuff outside of where I moved the mouse. So where the cursor is now, you see demo 1. And when I move the cursor over here, it switches videos. It's hard to tell. It switches to the melody video. And the way that works, I think, is whichever video is on top is the one that it'll show. So it's kind of like demo 1 is still there, but it's underneath the picture from melody. So that's the way I've been doing scene changes, is I'll just put the thing that I want visible on top of the thing that's sort of typically strum and sing all the way through the song is on video 1, and video 2 will be little segments of a solo or something. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let me zoom out, and I'm just going to slide that in until it's about fixed. Now, one thing that you notice right now is, let me zoom out for a second. Scroll all the way to the left. So time 0 is way over here. I put these sort of not at 0 because I didn't know where 0 was going to end up, because I was truncating some of the left of the video and stuff like that. If I were to export this as a video file right now, there would be 30 seconds or 40 seconds of black until it gets to this point. So before you export it to a final video file, you have to do a Control A to select all of this stuff and just click and drag it until it stops moving, and that bumps it up against time 0. That's a pretty important last step. Let's just play through it and see what it looks like. And then it clicked over to the, you see we didn't get it very well synchronized, but that's okay. And we're currently, let's comment on that. So like I said, all these have their own audio, and currently we're listening to the audio from demo 1, and the other 2 audios are muted. I'm going to mute the audio from demo 1 and unmute the MP3 that we made, because this is the audio we really want in the video. The other 2 audios are, in the end, just junk, although they are helpful for getting alignment. If you listen carefully to the music with 2 of these turned on, if they're not in sync, you'll be able to hear it, and you just experimentally scoot one left and right until you get it where you want it. I've done that before, and it's close enough, especially when you eventually mute all but one of the audios. And so if your fingers are a little out of sync with the audio, not many people will notice. And if they do, they get what they pay for, right? There's the scene change. And then here in a second, it'll switch back to the strummer guy. There he is. So that's what it's going to look like. And to get the final file, I go here and click render. And I always choose MP4 because it's the dominant format. And full project, render to file. Output file already exists. Oh, I haven't named this project yet. No, don't overwrite it. Close this. Let's do a save. And let's call it the demo project. All right, let's go through the rendering again. It'll render it to an MP4 with the same name as the project. Output file already exists. Why does it still want to call it untitled? Well, you can change the name, and that's what I'm going to do. Render to file. This will take longer for a longer video, but a few minutes maybe. And cleanup, I think, basically deletes this record of what happened. Close this window, and I'll go back to my video folder. Pay attention to the location whenever you do this, or you'll have to browse around until you find it. So there's our final product, and it launched on my other monitor. Hold on. So there you go.
That's cool.
All right. Any questions?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember it all, but it's cool. Yeah.
Well, I'll post a video so you can go back and scroll through this.
What was the video? What's the video editor you're using again?
KDEN Live. Here's the name right here. Can you make it out in the screen share?
I can't.
Let me.
Just put it in the email.
You said that's a Windows thing, right?
It's an open source thing,
Oh.
but I don't know if it's on other platforms. I expect it is. A lot of this stuff starts on Linux, so if it makes its way to Windows, then it's probably everywhere.
Okay, now you used Audacity before, and then now it's Kden Live.
Right.
How do you, I mean, I don't know where the dividing point was.
Kden Live is the video part. Audacity is only the audio.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's record video and audio separately but simultaneously. I'll summarize the steps. Record the video and audio in two separate apps, but at the same time. Do your audio magic, adjust your levels and make it in stereo and stuff like that. Export an MP3, and then import the MP3, which is your audio format from Audacity, and all your video files, your MP4s from your camera app, and then that happens in KDen Live, and then you do the final assembly here.
So, do you think this is the way most people do this, or do they have other? Are there other software that people like to use, or is this your favorite, or what's the deal with that?
It's free. I like it for
Yeah.
freeness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's definitely commercial stuff that may be easier to use. I don't know. I have found this is maybe not so easy to explore.
Right.
Like there's scene change editing stuff that I haven't figured out yet. And
Right.
I'd really kind of like to have a mosaic, kind of like the Brady Bunch tiles that Zoom does.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's cool.
I just haven't figured out how to do that yet, and
So,
haven't cared enough to really put some time into
yeah,
it.
yeah. So if
But,
I mean, I'm thinking like for myself, I would probably just start with audio.
mhm.
And so if I were to do that, then is that like Audacity just maybe by itself just to play with that or something?
Yeah, I have found Audacity is pretty easy to learn. I
Uh,
mean, there's a bunch of effects and there's a bunch of knobs, but
uh,
the most important thing for me was I wanted to hear back. And
right.
in terms of audio quality, I think the thing that probably matters the most is like getting a microphone in a good place.
Yeah,
If you put it too far away, then you get all kinds of room echo that you don't want. If
right,
you put it too close, I find that I get a bunch of string noise and I can hear
right,
myself breathing, and I don't like that either. So,
right. I just like sometimes I just use the little audio recorder that's on my iPhone,
hmm,
and then just to hear myself. But um, it's so simple. It'd be nice to have something that's on the computer and that I could be a little more structured about how I keep my files and maybe what I do with them.
yeah, I up until now I've recorded just to do an immediate listen, and then I just
Hmm.
throw it away because I don't think
Yeah,
I can
right. But
organize it and keep it.
yeah, like if I really wanted to practice with a little some bass line or something, that's what initially I was thinking about. Yeah,
Yeah, record yourself playing chords and then do a
yeah,
melody over the
yeah,
top. That's
right.
fun to do, and you play
Yeah,
whatever you want.
yeah.
So it's fun, and you can, listening to a recording of yourself, you can hear mistakes that are
Oh, you hear
hard
a
to hear
lot.
when you're playing it.
Also, you get a lot from seeing like just for me like going back and seeing the recording of the Zoom meeting.
Hmm.
It's just like you learn a lot about what you're doing when you see yourself too.
Yeah, yeah, that's especially true for my left hand.
Yeah,
I see my left hand do all kinds of crazy things. It's like, oh, I should get over that, but
yeah, cool. Well, thank you. That's good.
yeah, you're welcome. So y'all gonna post some videos soon, right?
And I don't think so.
Come on.
I think this is a little. The thing is, I would spend so much time on this that my
Yes.
play, I feel like I'm still working on structuring how I practice and play. And it's kind of interesting because, these few weeks of being at home, I'm better at it than I've been before,
Yeah.
just because I think there are fewer distractions.
Right.
And also having the weekly thing to have a goal to work for is helpful.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say this has been a distraction from practice because
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Playing
tried to
with the
keep it to a
software
minimum.
instead of playing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Exactly. But it's cool.
So
And I
that's,
like what you've been producing, and we've all been enjoying it, so that's nice.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't do it for anybody but me.
Well, we like it too, so
That's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. Um, Yeah, but I haven't sort of intentionally not learned any more than I have because I didn't want to be
Yeah,
distracted any
yeah.
more than I already am.
I always struggle and spend all way too much time with all this software stuff. So,
Yeah.
but but it's useful for certain things.
Well.
Cool. Well, thanks.